cook it up like Mama used to do. Well, she makes it easy. She shows you tricks.
Hey y'all, it's Chris and Tammy with Collar Valley Cooks. Today we're using a recipe from our first cookbook. It's my Dutch oven pot roast.
Collar Valley Cooks, ain't we having fun?
Alright, we're going to start off with a little bit of flour and salt and pepper to rub on our roast. I've got 2 tablespoons of flour. I'm going to put in a teaspoon of salt and about a half teaspoon of black pepper. Mix it up. We're going to rub this on our roast and brown it on all 4 sides. Simple ingredients, y'all. Turn it around. Get it on this side. I'm going to scrape the flour off that I didn't use and try to get it on here on the sides some, because you're going to pick up your roast and try to get it browned on all the sides in your skillet. And then we're also going to use the rest of this flour in the roast when we're simmering it. We got us a preheated skillet. We're going to add a little oil to it. And that's olive oil. And we're going to add our roast. So we're going to brown this roast on both sides, and I'm going to hold it up and brown the sides as well. This recipe is in our Volume 2 cookbook. It is called a Dutch oven pot roast. Now the pot roast in the recipe is listed as a rump roast, but we got this on sale. It was a shoulder roast. We got this large roast for $8.90 something. That's a really good price. So we bought this roast instead. Now, this is supposed to be in a Dutch oven, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't have a Dutch oven. So I'm using my cast iron. This is a cast iron pot, which is a Dutch oven is cast iron, but it's normally porcelain. This one is not porcelain. It's a non-stick element. It's a non-stick skillet instead of porcelain on the inside, but it works the same way. It's got a heavy lid like a Dutch oven, and so we're going to cook it in here, and we're just using this like a Dutch oven. So if you've got a Dutch oven, you can use it. If you've got a heavy cast iron pot with a lid, you can use it. You're just going to simmer it, okay, with the lid on. This element gets stuff brown right above where the element is, so you just have to move it around a little bit as you're cooking it. And it's easy to do when you've got a nice meat hook. These meat hooks are available on our website, and while I'm on here and we're waiting on this to brown, I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. Now I've turned the temperature up some, and I'm going to make sure that my roast is good and brown on this side over here. So I'm just going to take my hook and just kind of pull it over a little bit. And then once you get it good and brown, you can just pick it up and do the sides. This hook is really handy. Alright, so we're going to take the remaining flour and put it in here with our roast when it cooks. We're going to combine the onion. You're just going to slice an onion thin. This was a really big one. Now we're going to add a can of petite diced tomatoes. So we're gonna use a little bit of sriracha chili sauce. You can use Tabasco, whatever you have. You're gonna use about a 1/4 teaspoon. So this is not gonna be real hot. Put it in there. So we have our hot sauce, our tomatoes. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of steak and chop. Okay, we're gonna put in a 1/2 teaspoon of Weber steak and chop. If you have a different steak seasoning, that works too. And then we're gonna put in 2 teaspoons of thyme. All right, and now we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of water to it. And I'm gonna get this flour mixed in these tomatoes a little bit. And then all you're gonna do is put a lid on it, a really heavy lid. So if you don't have a Dutch oven, you need to have something that's got a really heavy lid. Use a brazier or something like what we're using today so that it can't evaporate. The liquid doesn't evaporate out of it, doesn't have a steam hole. It needs to be a solid lid, okay? And we are going to simmer this for 1.5 hours. Now, after the 1.5 hours, we're gonna turn it over and simmer it 2 more hours. Then we're gonna slice it across the grain, and these tomatoes and onions are gonna make a sauce to serve over the top of the roast. This recipe is super delicious, and it's a lot different than just a mama's pot roast recipe that you're used to eating. I hope you give it a try. Okay, our roast is done. You guys, I got this from a viewer, and it is an amazing tool. Y'all know I love my tools. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I couldn't find one on Amazon to show you guys. I believe this was from QVC. So if I can find it, I'll put a link in the post for you. And the reason I got it out is because this is a really big roast, and it has been simmering. We actually simmered this roast a little longer than we had to, but you can see that there's a nice sauce. So I'm gonna put this on our pan. And Chris did turn it over halfway through because I've been out and about doing other things. So now we're gonna take some of these good onions and tomatoes and stuff and put on top of the roast. And so when you serve it, you're gonna serve it with this as well on the plate. Just like that. And then you've got all this delicious juice that you can use to sop up with whatever bread you choose to serve with your roast for the evening, whether it's biscuits or French bread or whatever it is that you want to serve your family. You've got a really delicious sauce that you can serve alongside the roast, or just pour it on the plate with it. All right? And now we're gonna slice it. And you're gonna slice it across the grain and put it on the plate. And it's up to you how thick you make it. But I think about that thick is nice. About the thickness that you would cut a steak to eat. I got cut me a piece of roast. I'm gonna get me some tomato to put on top of it, and we're gonna give it a try, y'all. This is absolutely delicious. Seriously, y'all. It is absolutely delicious. You can cook it the time amount that I show on the recipe, or you can cook it a little longer. Just make sure that you cook it at a very low simmer temperature. This is a shoulder roast, a cheap cut of meat, and it is so tender and delicious and easy to chew. What a wonderful recipe. Can you believe we got that roast for $8.90? That is an amazing dinner. Tammy's Dutch oven pot roast. Boy, you can't go wrong with this, and I guarantee. Look at that yummy meat. We'll see you next time on Collar Valley Cooks, where we cook like our mamas did. Bye, y'all. Love ya.
Y'all wave bye.
Say, we just want a piece of meat.
Bye.
They're called a jaccard, Jaccard. If you don't get this hook that says that it's specifically a jaccard hook, and you get something cheaper, you're not going to have a real thin, sharp end like you see here. A lot of them show you a hook that looks similar to it, but then when you get it in the mail, it's really nothing like this one. So just make sure that if you get a hook, you get one that says jaccard, okay? If you use my link, you can't go wrong. Just go to the website.
Cooking time, it's over now. Tammy, she just showed you how to cook it up like Mama used to do. So